It's the year 2021, and Eren Yeager is trending alongside Declaration of War. You best believe somebody was confused by that. Either way, welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed your 1 week break from Attack on Titan. During that time, all I did was organize the clips from my upcoming SeaTactics X Peak AMV. Put down in the comments what you did. So this week on the show, we are discussing plenty of theories and the identity of the Warhammer Titan, why they split up Zeke and Peak and Porco, Willy Speech, and of course, just whose side is Eren on, and if he really is now the bad guy. Don't want to miss it. Let's get into it, and remember to subscribe if you enjoy my AOT content. It's free, easy to do, and you can always just unsubscribe later if you don't enjoy my stuff. So just to start off this video on a light subject, can we all agree that the people who were previously vocal about the CGI have now been sort of kind of proven wrong? Not only did we have this episode feature CGI, but barely anybody noticed it. Yes, Eren's Titan form was indeed CGI, but as well, we have possibly historically one of the worst CGI anime in recent memory, with X-Arm to pretty much shut down the people who said the CGI was really bad. Like I stated before, that was a controversy we'd quickly forget about, and we all sure enough did by episode 5. Outside of that small issue, I want to jump into a couple smaller bits before we get into those big meaty discussions later in the video. We have to talk about, first, Reiner's mother meeting up with Mr. Leonhardt, Annie's father. So let's cut to the chase. Is Annie alive? Well, Mr. Leonhardt certainly seems to think so, and for me, I do as well. I really want to thank Satsuki the Savage for helping me along with this theory, but here are my reasons for why I believe Annie is alive and why she has taken the side of the Paradisians. To start off, Annie's attitude throughout the whole series based on season 1 and the episodes she's been in for season 4 suggests to me a lot of things. The first being is that Annie seems to value more of herself and her own life over the squabbles of being a warrior and doing this for Marley. We can deduce this by not only her distant stances on many things, but as well how quickly she is to simply want to just go home and be with her father. Because of her desires, this to me suggests that Annie is not really on Annie's side. Thus, she is going to join them in the war against Marley. Her motivations are simply just to go home, so it's up to either side to make the most convincing offer. Who has the most convincing offer, though, you may ask? Well, Eren Yeager and his merry gang of the Ackermans, a potato girl, the girl with a strange fetish, and Jesus holding Shinobu. One of those things isn't true. I'm looking at you, potato girl. Next up on the list of SeaTactics, we have the identity of the Warhammer Titan, which I have to say at this point, if I'm theorizing about something, please for the love of God do not spoil stuff. People have just been spoiling everything in the comments, but here are my current theories. Last week, I talked about the possibility of Willy being the Warhammer Titan, but after the ending to this week's episode, I am revising this theory as if Willy were the Titan, you best believe he'd transform almost immediately at the end of this episode. So my new theory is this. One of these two polar opposites are the Warhammer Titan. Now, why are they polar opposites? One is like literally a monkshin compared to this 8-foot tall beast of a man. Also because they were so in focus compared to the other Willy siblings, that to me seems to be the obvious one. Those two, to me, seem to be the obvious ones. Peak likes bearded men. Man gets hated on for getting a hug from Peak. Peak is now everyone's favorite. One could say this episode had peak content. Yep. While I just earned a bunch of angry commenters telling me that was a bad pun, we must mention a couple things. One, I was wrong about Peak eating Ymir. Whoopsie, I'm a bit of a dum-dum sometimes. Just work with me. And really, just to be fair, I said that in a first impressions video, so I try to keep it as unscripted and in the moment as I possibly can, so fault is on mine. I apologize. And actually, a big thanks to those of you who helped me get corrected on that. You guys put in the comments, tons of you, and I appreciate that so much. Anyways, as I was saying, Peak says she's seen this fancy bearded man before, or that he seems familiar. Two things come from this. Peak really seemed interested in this bearded man. Maybe she was trying to score. One could say she was taking a peek at his relationship status. Fuck, that was awful. The other is that, hey, this person was either in the background of an event she was recently at. I don't know. Whoever this person is, I would surmise he would have to be a newer character to AOT, as he looks nothing like any of the previous cast we've seen. But before Peek and Porco get trapped in as well, the guard before that purposefully tells Zeke he needs to go somewhere else. This, to me, suggests they have other plans for Zeke. Plans that would be more valuable than just trapping them in with Porco and Peek. But why though? Well, that is something we can only guess, but maybe it's to capture the Beast Titan? Now, let's get to one of the two main events of this video, the first being Willy Speech. This is easily one of the most important and trending moments of Attack on Titan probably ever. Not only does this set the stage for the final moments of Attack on Titan as we know it, but it as well proves that with Eren Yeager and Declaration of War trending, that AOT has become one of the most talked about anime possibly ever. So we start off with the truth as we know it, which is juxtaposed with, well, the real truth. Helos nor the Tibers ended the Great Titan War, but it was King Fritz who ended the war. Tired of the constant infighting, the oppression of Marley, and their history of violence, he sought peace, and so they fabricated a hero for Marley named Helos, and King Fritz fled to Paradis Island, with as many Eldians as he could. In an attempt to further this peace, he renounced war and with his abilities stopped the Titans from attacking Marley. It wasn't Fritz who was threatening them, it was in reality Fritz who was protecting them. Through all of this, Fritz knew that one day he would come to take back the founding Titan, and thus he accepted this fact. After all, he only wanted peace for his remaining years. Now this is where you probably want to start paying attention, because King Fritz used tens of millions of colossal titans, that's right, those big boys, to erect the ever so popular walls that we know of today. Think about it. Tens of millions of colossal titans, people. Tens of millions. This leads to the revelation that the person threatening Marley is none other than Eren Yeager, our hero of the series? Huh. Okay, well, Eren now has possibly renounced the vows of peace and has broken the colossal titans out of their shells, possibly, maybe. And as they speak, they could be on their way to trample them. The only thing left to do now is tremble at the footsteps of doom, as everything will be trampled. This speech was absolutely incredible, and to end possibly one of the most memorable reveals in all of modern anime history. Willy declares war. I got goosebumps describing this to you all, and I feel like that's something that's been happening a lot recently with AOT. I think it goes without saying that this was kind of one of those legendary moments, you know? Now onto Eren and Reiner's confrontation that sent shivers down my spine, literally, and asked the question, is Eren Yeager now the villain of Attack on Titan? I think the answer to that is a yes and a no. Let me explain. Upon the reveal that the real threat is Eren Yeager, we have to break down everything to brass tacks. We have to go back to the very beginning. Eren Yeager, upon witnessing his mother being eaten, vowed to exterminate the Titan threat. Since then, Eren has kept true to his word. His goal is still very much to get his revenge, but the major factor in all of this truly is Reiner Braun, and to probably a greater extent Marley as a whole. Due to Reiner's need to become a hero and flush out the founding Titan, he kept going with the mission and led the attack on the walls. While Annie wanted to stop this, Reiner continued to push forward with the mission, developing a split personality that Reiner has these two sides, his friends and the enemy, all playing together to affect his mental health. Now we have to also realize that Reiner in all of this really had no choice, but he was just doing what he was told. He was a warrior, a soldier. Now, on Eren's side, his cold, blank stare. I'm sure full of confidence, as the plan they've probably been working on for years is finally underway, tells Reiner that while his people were the enemies to Marley, it is now Marley who are the enemies, even though Eren came to see Marley and Eldians as people like any other. And while this is happening, Reiner recalls something Eren said years ago. Eren would make them suffer in the worst possible way. Though, oddly enough, Eren doesn't recall that this much. I think this speaks to the guilt guilt and anxiety that Reiner has over what he did to these people, that is still planted within his mind. Seeing how determined Eren was to exterminate the Titan threat made Reiner truly fearful of what Eren could do. But now at this point, Reiner just wants to die. He hates his own race. He is sick of all of this mess and begs Eren in front of Falco to kill him. That's insane. As this happens, Reiner grabs Eren's hand and poof, Eren turns into the founding Titan and kills a lot of innocents. So now the real question, as I asked before, is Eren the villain? The answer is yes and no still. Yes! In a sense, he is the newest villain of Attack on Titan, but do not be mistaken, that does not now mean Marley are the protagonist goody goods. In reality, both factions of Paradis and Marley are now just as guilty as the others. Eren transforming and killing plenty of innocent people who have no ties to the military in their houses, some of them children and possibly young infants, immediately makes Eren a despicable person. Also, while we don't know exactly what Eren's future plans are, we can obviously see that he's planning to go into the zone and kill even more people in this chaos, whether innocents or not. In many ways, this is the opposite of what happened in the first episode of Attack on Titan. This is the exact same thing Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt did to Eren and humanity. Now, this to me says a lot. To me, it says Eren isn't just a black and white antagonist either, but something more of a neutral evil alignment. Eren Yeager is the bad guy, but Eren Yeager is a creation of Marley and Reiner. In other words, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Marley had it coming to them the moment they broke those walls. We can talk all we want, but the facts of the facts are that both sides are equally guilty and both sides have every reason to be pissed off. And now Marley has to deal with the Eldian threat once more. History is repeating itself, except now, this time, Eren Yeager wants his revenge, and nothing can stop him now. But next episode, we'll get even more answers to our questions as we're set to be seeing the reveal of the Warhammer Titan in action. I want to know what you guys think about the Warhammer Titan, who it will be, my theories in this video, if they're good or not, and what your thoughts on episode 5 were. I am extremely grateful for how well these videos are performing, as I went from getting 500 to 1K views a video to literally tens of thousands of views a video with these. So please know how truly grateful I am for this. I've literally almost gained 10,000 subs in the last month, and we're about 2K subs from hitting that 10,000 mark in a month. So if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate you subscribing. As well, if you're a fan of my ReZero content, then be sure to watch my recent video regarding Katakawa and Crosswarp mass striking channels and why I took down all of my ReZero videos. Links will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.